So, everyone says that making friends is harder as an adult, which I suppose is understandable in some sense. I mean, after all, when you're an adult, you no longer have play dates or, school clubs or semi-regular birthday parties or breaks in the workday to run around a field and play games with your peers. Wouldn't that be kind of fantastic if we all just had a playground as part of the office building? Anyway, moving on. Instead, as an adult, we go to work and then we sit at home in the evenings, and all of our free time is taken up by responsibilities that you never had before, like dependents or children, health or fitness, relationships and work deadlines. There are some people who are natural at making friends, whereas many other adults oftentimes rely on maintaining the friendships they had at school or university. But what if you're not one of those people? When I was at school and failing miserably to fit into any friend group properly, I kind of skirted on the outsides. Adults used to reassure me, and they used to tell me that my shyness and my awkwardness and my social anxiety wouldn't last forever. Sadly, the extroverted, confident adults in my life weren't correct about that, and if anything, as my world got bigger, I became more insular and introverted. I discovered the hard way that I didn't enjoy usual adult social settings such as after-work drinks or parties or bars and pubs, because overstimulation and incredibly shy. Yet, despite being a shy introvert with debilitating social anxiety sometimes, I somehow managed to actually make more friends in my late 20s and early 30s than I ever made in the entirety of my childhood, teenage years, and university. Nearly all bar one of the friends that I have today are friends that I made after the age of 27. And how is that possible? Well, here are my tips on how to make friends as an adult, the neurodivergent edition. So 1, identify what settings you feel most comfortable in, and then attempt to make friendships within those. By my late 20s, I knew myself pretty well. I knew what environments I felt most comfortable in, and those I wasn't. You see, I am not comfortable in casual social environments, such as pubs and clubs, sports centres, gigs and parties. But I am comfortable in formal settings such as classrooms, lecture halls, work environments and rehearsal spaces. So those are the ones that I put myself in with the hopes of meeting like-minded people. Now, I'm not a confident or extroverted person, so I gave myself the best chance of making friends. I negated my social anxiety by only socialising within contexts and environments I felt comfortable in, which were primarily bookish, theatrical or academic. You see, there's no point me going to a pub or joining a sports team or a yoga class when I'm not comfortable in those environments, because I won't feel confident talking to other people in those settings. So, similarly to you, identify where you feel most at ease and where you feel most confident, even if that's rare, and start there. The second thing was to connect with your interests, including the interests that you had in childhood. So, when I moved to Edinburgh, almost a decade ago now, I knew absolutely no one here. And whilst I was friendly with colleagues that I had at workplaces, I didn't make any actual friends at work until after a few job changes. So I couldn't rely on workplaces for networking and making friends when I first moved here. Most of the friends now I have today come from trying new things or returning to old interests that I had as a child. For example, I attended over 5 evening courses at the university. I returned to acting and I auditioned for a fringe show and I made friends with other actors in the group. I joined a book club, and I went along to random board game nights by myself, and then I actually started my own writing club. Now, you may think these sound horrifying, but we all have activities that we do feel comfortable doing, and usually that's because they tap into a core passion that we've had since childhood. So, though it may not eliminate your feelings of social anxiety, staying close to your core passions when exploring social settings as an adult is the safest way to break your state of introverted isolation, and it gives you the highest chances of meeting potential friends with common interests or shared values and mindsets. But I should emphasise it's important to keep trying, because I attended, again, 5 night classes, and out of the 5 night classes I attended over, a 3-year span, I made 1 friend. So just because you didn't meet someone in the first one doesn't mean you don't keep trying. You can meet friendly people, but making friendships is something else as an adult, and you just have to keep trying, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen the first time. My next advice is to use apps that you feel comfortable with. So, over my years of using them, I made a couple of friends via dating apps, believe it or not. And then I made friends by meeting the friends of the people that I met on dating apps. So my friend Michael, for example, hi Michael if you're watching, he and I met on Tinder. And I remember at one point I hung out with him, and there was a group of us all together. None of us were dating, but they were all friends that Michael had made on dating apps or on Discord. Never underestimate the very cool network that you can make via apps, whether they're friendship apps or dating apps or Discord servers. So for most introverts, meeting people online is the kind of safest and most comfortable way to introduce ourselves to others. My next advice is to become a regular somewhere. Being a regular is really important, even if you don't make friends at the places you frequent, because if you are struggling with loneliness, becoming a regular at a spot that you love will help ease the feelings of isolation that come along with that. See, after becoming a regular at some of my local bookshops, not only did I make friends with the booksellers who worked there, but I also made friends with other regular customers, some of whom are now my closest friends. You can become a regular anywhere, from a cafe to a bookshop to a place of worship, a board game shop, a library, a gym, a cinema, a theatre or a restaurant. And the benefit of these locations is that I've actually never once had to initiate conversation with someone. In these kind of casual environments, there's usually always a more confident, extroverted person who broaches conversation, and once you make contact with one person on the regular, comfortable settings, other people will follow, and you kind of network from there. My next piece of advice is to be honest and discuss your social limits. So, we all know this, but introverts have limits on how much they can socialise in a week or a month. And the sooner you embrace those limits and open up to others about them, the happier you will be in your social lives and no one will get upset and hurt. You see, some people are able to socialise once a week or even more. I, on the other hand, tend to only manage to see my friends once every few months and text once every few weeks, or again, even months. Now, when I was younger, I was incredibly embarrassed about how limited my bandwidth was for socialising. You see, even texting to me, it increases social anxiety. To me, is just as bad as going out in public. So I was afraid as an adult that people would think I was rude or neglectful or a bad friend. But nowadays, I only surround myself with incredibly kind, understanding, supportive people who know me and respect my limits because they know my intentions and we have a fulfilling friendship within each other, and also they have fulfilling friendships outside of our friendship, so no one's relying on each other for that. I also benefit from most of my friends being introverts, so my limits match their social bandwidths very neatly. It's very convenient. Now, I should say that social limits are not just related to how often you speak or meet up with a friend, but they also relate to the environments in which you hang out and activities you do together. So I will always make the effort to go outside my comfort zone and meet the wants and needs of extroverted friends, such as meeting up at a pub, but they also respectfully know that I'm only probably doing that once or twice a year. I can't handle it more than that. I need at least 5 months to recover from a pub night. So final thoughts. Being an introvert is valid, but if you're struggling to make friends or suffering from feelings of loneliness, that's your sign to challenge yourself and not become defined and limited by your introversion, or your shyness, or your social anxiety. You see, people don't just appear in our lives. We will have to go out and make the effort to put ourselves out there and meet others and build amazing connections, be they platonic or romantic. You know, people will reject you. People may not be the friends with you the first time you meet them. You have to keep trying. I would never have met any of my friends had I not taken the initiative to talk to the girl sitting next to me in the class, or ask for her number, or to ask another girl if she wanted to study together at the library, or ask that guy if he wanted to meet up for a coffee, or audition for that show, or sign up for that class, or compliment that stranger, or ask that other stranger if the book she's reading was any good. It takes those moments to actually get anywhere, and you have to be willing to keep making those moments. You can't just do it once and be devastated if it didn't work out. That'd be like getting rejected once by someone and then saying, I will never find love. It's ridiculous. Also, another thing to remember here is that not to put any pressure on yourself to make friends with the people. So I took initiatives that started off small, I took risks, but they didn't always pay off. But I didn't care because I didn't have the pressure on myself to make friends with the next person that I spoke to. You know, I remained within the realms of my comfort zone. I didn't start partying or signing myself up to text every day or hang out multiple times a week. I took an interest in those around me, and I took the time to get to know other people. And making friends is easier when you stop focusing on making friends and instead prioritize being curious about those around you and their lived experiences. So when you take the pressure off yourself to socialize and reframe your approach as being one more of of curiosity about the world around you, then you'll settle into a more manageable, less lonely lifestyle, which may also bear the fruits of friendship, but that's an added bonus. You need to enjoy the exploration of being curious about those around you and see if friends come from that. But don't be upset if it doesn't happen immediately, because that's not how life works. I hope this helped you, and now the person with the drill has stopped drilling. That was really irritating, but I hope you enjoyed this, despite the drill person drilling their drill. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you have any requests for other similar videos, I have a little Google form in the description box down there, so you can send me a request. But thank you so much for watching, and remember, be happy and healthy, and books save lives, so keep reading.